Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Jeffy and this is my best friend, Android the Chihuahua. Today we're going to be showing you guys how to do a really cool melt and pour soap design. We're going to be making some tilted layers and they are going to come out perfect. For this particular design, we're going to be using this 1 pound mold from Brambleberry. You can also find this mold on Amazon if you want to get it a little bit quicker. The next secret for how we're going to be able to get our melt and pour tilted soap design so perfect is this little item. I got it at Staples, I believe, and it is just a little sign holder. I picked it up for my craft fairs. They're pretty inexpensive and they're just made out of plastic. But if you're using just a 1 pound soap loaf mold and you stick it on there, because the mold is silicone, it stays on pretty well and it does slip. I mean, if you tilt too far, it'll come off, but we're only going to be tilting it at this little angle while it's set on the table. So that should give us pretty perfect tilts every time. And then when we need to, we'll just flip it over and we'll go back and forth like that. Another really good item to have when you're working with melt and pour soap is these little microwavable containers. You can get these on Amazon or Brambleberry, and they're really awesome because they have this little spout on the end. For this soap design, we're going to be using both clear melt and pour soap and some goat's milk soap. This goat's milk soap smells so good. Even Android loves it. Every time he loves it. This is great stuff. But I don't like the color as much as the see-through because you can get such bright color with the see-through melt and pour. So we have both. We'll get a little bit of a mix on this project. Now I also have one powder for us to use. Usually when I do melt and pour, I prefer these little blocks of color, and most of what we're going to be doing today is going to be with these little color blocks. But I'm in love with Gold Bust by Nurture Soap. It is a mica powder and it is the most beautiful color. So this will be one of our layers. The other colors that we have here in color block formation is Cappuccino Color Block from Brambleberry, Rose Gold Color Block, Stormy Blue Color Block, and the Blackberry color. I have not tried the Blackberry one yet, so that's the one I'm most excited to see. We'll be mixing it with some white melt and pour, so hopefully we get a beautiful purpley color. We're going to prepare our Gold Bust color first, and to do that, I'm just going to pour a little bit into this teeny container and mix it with some alcohol. That way it mixes into our melt and pour easier when we're ready for it. So our 1 pound loaf mold here actually holds 22 ounces if you want to fill it all the way to the tippy top. So I divided 22 by 6 since we're going to be doing 6 colors today, and we got 3.66. That's a little bit hard, you know, when you're on your scale to go to 3.666. So I'm going to round down a little bit and I'm going to do 3.5 ounces of each of our colors, and that'll get us pretty close to the top of our mold. The first color we're going to be using is our white. And I'm just going to cut this into little chunks. Then I'm going to toss them in a cup and measure it. The more exact these measurements are, the better looking our soap bar will be at the end. For our fragrance oil, I'm going to be using some Plumeria from Brambleberry. So to measure it out, I'm just going to pour 1/2 ounce into this little cup. And every time we do a layer, I'll throw 1/6 of this little cup into our mixture. Once you have all of your melt and pour measured out, just dump it into your microwave safe container. And then we'll put this in the microwave in 30-second increments until it's completely melted down. Now I'm adding in our purple color block. If these don't melt down enough for you by just throwing them in, you can always throw this back in the microwave for another 15 seconds. All right, so I got my mold here set up on top of that little plastic piece. Now when I cut my bars, I'm going to be cutting them this direction. So this is the direction of up and down, and then these are my 2 sides. And to get rid of those bubbles, you're going to want to hit it with some alcohol. Our purple color here is looking really good and dry, so I have our next batch of melt and pour soap ready. We're going to be doing white and pink next. So before we pour our next layer of melt and pour, we're going to want to switch this around. All right, and here are our little pink drops. A splash of our fragrance. Spray that with some alcohol. Pour our next layer in. All right, and to get rid of all those bubbles, another spritz of that alcohol. It looks like we're ready for our next color, which is going to be our gold. So I'm just going to pour in some clear melt and pour. I'm also going to flip the direction of our mold so that we can get our next layer to go up. Our clear melt and pour is nice and melty. I made this mixture out of our gold powder and some alcohol, and now I'm just going to drop that in. Of course, a little bit of fragrance oil, a nice stir. I'm just going to spritz the top of our bar with some alcohol, and I'll add this on top. To get rid of those bubbles on the top, we'll do one more spritz of alcohol. Before we pour our next layer, I'm going to rotate this again. And next up is going to be these little cappuccino color blocks. Alright, I'm just going to spritz the top of this. Spritz it with some alcohol. For our next layer, we're just going to be using white, so the only thing we're going to be adding to this bucket is a little bit of fragrance oil once it's melted. And of course, before our next layer, we're just going to give this a spin. So I'm just going to spritz that with some more alcohol. Make sure everything is nice and sticky. And then I will pour our white layer. Spritz to get rid of our bubbles. So for our next layer, we're going to be completely ditching our little clear piece. That way our mold is flat and we will get a nice flat top on our bars. The white melt and pour for our final layer. Alright, so I got my last little bit of scent oil and some blue color block. I'm spritzing the top with some alcohol to get rid of bubbles, and we're ready to let this set for the last time, and then we will get to come back and see how our beautiful bars look. So this is our finished bar. We got some beautiful layers down the side, and our peaks are at perfect points. So now I'm going to cut this open and we'll see how our individual bars look. So these bars are our finished project. We actually got 4 of them, but I just thought that setup of 3 looked nicer for us to view. I really love how clean our lines look, and that gold sparkle is definitely my favorite. I think next time I would do a little bit different of a color choice because our purple and our brown became very similar. But other than that, I'm in love with these bars. I think we did a great job and they smell amazing. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more soap videos just like this.